Amir Timur, the sword of the world. In the vast steppes of Central Asia, where endless deserts meet snow-capped mountains, a warrior was born who would one day shake the foundations of the known world. His name was Timur, known in the West as Tamerlane. Born into a world of chaos and ambition, in 1336, he would rise from humble beginnings to become one of the most feared and respected conquerors in human history. Timur was born in the small town of Kesh, near the city of Samarkand in what is today Uzbekistan. He came from the Barlas tribe, a Mongol Turkic people who had settled in the region after the time of Genghis Khan. Though he was not born into royalty, Timur believed or claimed that he was descended from the great Genghis himself. This claim would later fuel his ambitions for empire. As a young man, Timur was wounded in battle, shot by arrows in the leg and hand, leaving him with a limp and a disabled right arm. This earned him the name Timur-Ilang, or Timur the Lame, which later evolved in European tongues to Tamerlane. Despite these injuries, Timur was known for his iron will, sharp intellect, and ruthless tactics. By his late 20s, Timur had become a skilled warrior, a clever politician, and a master of alliances. He married into noble families and used both diplomacy and force to rise in power. In 1370, after defeating his rival Hussein, Timur became the undisputed ruler of the region. But he did not declare himself king. Instead, he installed a puppet Khan from the lineage of Genghis Khan, ruling through him to maintain the appearance of legitimacy. Timur understood the power of symbols and the fear they could command. Once his power base in Central Asia was secured, Timur began a series of brutal and brilliant military campaigns that would last for over 3 decades. He swept through Persia like a storm, crushing kingdoms and city-states with terrifying force. His enemies were often shown no mercy. Cities that resisted him were destroyed. Thousands were executed. Heads of the defeated were stacked into pyramids as warnings to others. But Timur was not only a destroyer, he also saw himself as a patron of culture and religion. He rebuilt cities, repaired mosques, and promoted Islamic scholarship. He gathered poets, scientists, architects, and artists from across his empire, often by force, and brought them to his capital, Samarkand. There, he began transforming the city into a shining center of Islamic art and architecture. In 1398, Timur turned his gaze toward India. At that time, the Delhi Sultanate was plagued by internal conflict and instability. Timur claimed he was launching a holy war against a ruler who had strayed from Islamic principles. But in truth, he sought glory and riches. His campaign through India was swift and brutal. After crossing the Indus River, he fought his way to Delhi and sacked the city. The destruction was catastrophic. Tens of thousands of civilians were massacred, and the treasures of the city were plundered. Timur returned to Samarkand with elephants, gold, and Indian artisans who would help build his dream of an eternal capital. Back home, Timur continued to expand his empire. His military reached deep into the Caucasus, Anatolia, and the Middle East. In 1402, Timur launched one of his most famous campaigns against the Ottoman Empire. At the Battle of Ankara, he decisively defeated the Ottoman Sultan, Bayezid I, and took him prisoner. This victory stunned Europe and the Islamic world alike. The mighty Ottomans, who were threatening Europe, had been humbled by a warrior from the East. And yet, Timur's ambitions had no end. Even in the old age, he planned a new conquest. This time, China. He wanted to challenge the rising power of the Ming dynasty and bring it under his control. In 1405, he set out with a massive army during a harsh winter, but the cold and illness overcame him. Timur died before reaching the border of China. He was nearly 70 years old, having spent over 35 years at war. His body was brought back to Samarkand and buried in the magnificent Gur-e-Amir, a mausoleum he had built. The site still stands today, shining with blue tiles and carved stone, a monument to a man who reshaped continents. Timur's legacy is complex. He was a ruthless conqueror who caused the deaths of millions. His campaigns left cities in ruins and civilizations shaken. But he also built. He turned Samarkand into one of the most magnificent cities of the medieval Islamic world. He supported scholars, revived trade routes, and left behind a dynasty that would change history. Among his descendants was Babur, the founder of the Mughal Empire in India, one of the richest and most powerful empires in world history. Timur's blood ran through emperors, artists, and warriors for generations. Historians continue to debate Timur's place in history. Was he a tyrant who destroyed more than he built? Or was he a genius of war and empire who carved order from chaos and elevated culture? The truth lies somewhere in between. In modern-day Uzbekistan, Timur is a national hero. Statues of him stand proudly in cities like Samarkand and Tashkent. His name is taught in schools, celebrated in poetry, and remembered in national pride. To his people, he is not just a conqueror. He is the founder of their history. More than 600 years after his death, the name Timur still inspires awe. He was a man of contradictions, brutal yet cultured, ambitious yet calculating, feared yet admired. This was Timur, the lame warrior, the brilliant tactician, the patron of the arts, the conqueror of kingdoms. This was Amir Timur, the sword of the world. If you enjoyed this journey through the life of one of history's greatest warriors, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. There are many more stories waiting to be told of empires, legends, and the people who shaped our world.